Check out the shirt. It says ACK flag. Isn't that funny? Kathy, get it? It's like I'm a 40-year-old white woman. ACK! Did she put her hands on her face? I don't remember now. Let's see if we got this going. I have a feeling it's just because it's chroma key. And I hate doing fucking chroma key. Ooh, what am I doing? I'm trying to get into the groove because I don't know why, but today just feels like it's not the day. You ever feel like that? Hi, I'm Dennis, and today I'm going to talk to you about how sometimes you ain't feeling it. No, I'm just fucking kidding. Okay, let's go. Hey there, folks. My name is Dennis, and I feel like I might be a million years too late to this topic, but vaporwave, am I right? For the uninitiated, vaporwave is a genre of electronic music. Its idiosyncratic traits are very slow tempos, droning sounds, repetition of simple beats, and the remixing of Japanese city pop, future funk, elevator music, marketing material, video game sounds, whole bunch of different things. The sound evokes a feeling of a nostalgia for a time that may or may not have existed, and it pokes fun at the commercialism of the Gilded Age of the markets from the late 1980s in Japan and the 90s in the US. It also references 9/11 a lot for some reason. If you take a look at the art associated with the genre, you can kind of see that it's clearly not meant to be taken so seriously. Vaporwave can be traced back to the late 2000s and the early 2010s, and it originated as an ironic variant of chillwave, another genre of electronic music. The style itself was pioneered by producers like James Ferraro, Daniel Lopatin, and Ramona Javier under various pseudonyms. Javier released the album Floral Shop under the name Macintosh Plus, and it's typically marked as the cornerstone of the genre. If you've been on the internet in the last 10 years, you've probably seen the album art. The breakout song from the album, Lisa Frank 420 Gendai no Kompyu, is now synonymous with the genre. The look and the sound of the album are indicative of what the kids call aesthetics. I guess my aesthetics are skulls, Satan, Pokemon, and some Kong shit. Sounds about right. The aesthetics are almost Dada in nature, incorporating a mishmash of different clashing ideas such as glitch art with Greco-Roman statues, 3D rendered objects with VHS degradation, the economic boom of the 1980s in Japan, the dot-com bubble, and like I mentioned before, 9/11. I've already said this, but the genre and the artists don't necessarily take themselves very seriously if you take a look at the art. This is in no way a dig at their music ability or their talent or their art. A lot of it is very good. These folks are legitimate artists. Their attitude towards creating art and music really reminds me of my time in comedy. There is a level of dedication needed to create something so ironic and funny. You really just want to work hard to have people enjoy themselves. The genre has been described by Pitchfork as being in the uncanny genre valley, between a real genre that sounds fake and a fake genre that could be real. There's also an obvious but not so obvious cynicism and parody of consumerism. In an interview with Tiny Mixtapes, Javier said that her newly released album, Contemporary Sapporo, was a parody of American hypercontextualization of E-Asia circa 1995. Vaporwave.us, a blog and promoter of the genre, is quick to point out that this isn't necessarily a critique of capitalism. Vaporwave is not particularly concerned with the means of production in a capitalist system, or the philosophical or political background in which this system stands. Furthermore, talking about capitalism with a single unified voice is difficult and can be obfuscating. Capitalism means an extremely broad range of things to a broad range of people. Therefore, let us hone in on what specifically Vaporwave engages with. consumer culture. Vaporwave began with music and art, which is aimed at selling something to a consumer. And the feelings and ideas associated with that means of distribution is where it focuses its commentary. Okay, I get it, it's a blog, but there's really not that much academic authority on the subject of vaporwave. Honestly, YouTube might be the place where you're gonna find anything close to academic on the subject. So, hey, holla, add into this shit. I disagree with the writer about the broad definition of capitalism. I don't think there's any confusion over the concept when we are talking about a genre of music that chops and screws literal marketing material. However, I will contend that this is indeed a parody of consumerism. The writer goes on to acknowledge, while work is put into making the music itself marketable, it is a joke, a parody of what marketability is. Oddly enough, when the aesthetic is used by corporations, it doesn't go over very well. In the late 2010s, both MTV International and Tumblr used vaporwave aesthetics in their branding, and well, how much are you really hearing about those two brands nowadays? I asked a marketing expert why these two companies might have failed at gaining an audience with vaporwave. And by marketing expert, I mean my roommate Sam, who has a marketing degree from a CSU. Also, fuck off, that's a joke. I have a degree from a CSU as well, so lay off me.
Sam, why did MTV and Tumblr fail at vaporwave marketing?
What? I don't know. How would I know that?
To be fair, I should have had more data available, but I can make a pretty good guess that it wasn't just vaporwave that has made these companies kind of fail. I really couldn't find that much data on the subject other than Zoomers and millennials just really aren't into the platforms anymore. I also attended Tape Swap and Chill in Los Angeles to ask a few vaporwave artists their opinions about the failure of corporations using vaporwave. If you could please excuse the audio and the video. You can prepare as much as you want, but you're still going to run into some technical difficulties and almost get run over by a car at least 5 times. But hey, if you donate to my Patreon or my Ko-fi, maybe I can afford things like better cameras for doing interviews outdoors. I mean, it won't stop me from getting run over a car though, so that might still happen. But anyway, here are the interviews.
You know, why do you think this is a much more successful thing online than it is like actually in person or even corporatized?
I think that a lot of people come to vaporwave like having not felt welcomed into other music scenes, and I think that being coupled with like it starting online, like, because for the most part, I mean, I'm not saying everyone has access to like computers in like online communities, but I feel like it's much more accessible than say a lot of in-person scenes, because not everyone can like just go out and like attend all these shows that are happening in say like other niche music genres. But I feel like that's what's really contributed to it kind of blowing up over time, is that like people can sort of retreat to it.
We were also talking about how corporate ventures maybe not have had the best time with vaporwave. You were mentioning that one of your friends' videos was used for Arizona Tea.
Yeah.
However, Arizona Iced Tea is no longer using vaporwave, as far as I know. So why is it, do you think, that like when it's not a grassroots effort, it's not quite the same?
It feels it's very DIY. I mean, a lot of like people in the mainstream use its visual aesthetic because they latch onto something very like it's very homegrown, home roots. Like it's like straight up just made by the people that make it. So like if you make vaporwave music, you're a part of that community.
So why do you think that a more corporatized version of vaporwave didn't quite hit the mark?
I think corporations do a lot of like, what's it called, when they're like workshopping things and they're trying to refine it into a package.
Yeah, it's a very boardroom meeting.
That doesn't like tap into the personal nostalgia that people of whatever age group they're in get from an individual putting that together. So like, if you grew up at a certain time, like I guess, you know, we did growing up alongside the internet, when like a corporation tries to rebrand and repackage that, it doesn't seem as authentic. But when you have like one person in their bedroom and who knows where, maybe you don't even know where, recreating this thing that like brings back emotions and brings back nostalgia for you, it's easier to connect with, personally, I think. And like, I know I'm very much invested in supporting artists and creators, and I see people in the vaporwave scene as like artists and creators, and I want to support artists and creators, not corporations.
If you want to see the full interviews, and trust me, you do, because these folks are great, they will be available to donors. Honestly, they were just such a wonder to interview, and I can't wait to hopefully talk to them again soon. All right, we can't just stop at capitalism, can we? We gotta talk about it. Fashwave, but also labor wave. That was fake excitement. I don't have much to say about Fashwave, except that one good thing about it and one unfortunate thing about labor wave is that they're basically unlistenable. I can't explain why Fashwave is a thing. Maybe it's the marble statues, maybe it's because vaporwave is so online. Maybe it's the fact that it's pretty memey, and we live in a time where mass shooters make memes in their manifestos. So many things, memes and vaporwave included, are not meant to be taken totally seriously nowadays. So why should we take seriously the threats of people who are literal Nazis? I didn't want to talk about this. It really is upsetting. This is in no way a besmirchment of vaporwave or vaporwave artists. This just seems to be a really weird Venn diagram. I can tell you what though, after being at Tape Swap and Chill and meeting so many different folks, it seems like the amount of Fashwave out there is completely outnumbered by just some really chill artists who want you to have a good time. And that's what's more important. Now, Laborwave makes sense to me. Zero Books and Alex from Pacific Plaza Records both mention how Vaporwave is made from stolen material by people using pirated software. That in and of itself is a commentary of capitalism, regardless of what Vaporwave.us wants to say. But when it becomes a very direct critique of capitalism, maybe it just isn't as funny. And I really don't have a leg to stand on here because I'm not a very good musician at all, but a lot of Laborwave out there just seems to lack any skill. A lot of it is just kind of like slowed down Stalin speeches with someone fucking around with the volume knob a lot. Exception being Agat 2, who I used in my JCP video. That shit was pretty cool. I also asked my interview subjects about this more political edge of the spectrum, and they hadn't actually heard much or any Fashwave at all, which is good. But they also didn't really hear about Laborwave either. They did have some really great things to say about other political aspects of the genre that I hadn't really thought about though. TAGIRL explained how Vaporwave has become a place for her as a queer person to feel more open and expressive and accepted.
That's what it's been for me, is kind of a retreat from what I was doing before, where I felt like for me, I identify as queer, and I identify as bisexual, and I feel, and you know, and I don't say that very often because I'm from a really, you know, I don't want to get super into it, but the area I'm from is not accepting of those kinds of people on a very regular public basis.
Alex explained that he's a little worried about the mainstreaming of the genre and centrist views taking away from the punk rock and DIY aspects of it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, there's a lot of different people in this scene, and some of them are very normal people who have centrist views, although centrist is really right-leaning, let's be real here.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people in Vaporwave, especially in the early days, who kind of came from this idea of you're stealing as a political statement, you're reimagining as a political statement, you're reimagining to send a message, even if it's not explicit, there's an implicit, message behind stealing and reusing and recycling things that I think aligns more with punk and leftist kind of culture. So I wish there was more kind of political leanings to the left, because there is definitely a lot of that in Vaporwave, but with it becoming more accessible or becoming a little more mainstream in certain ways, you have normal people with a varying spectrum of political beliefs getting into it.
And FrankJavCee said something a little corny, but I still thought it was kind of a nice sentiment about the motivation behind the creation of art.
One of the things about music is if it's made from hate, it's not good. If it's made from love, it grooves with everyone.
Well, okay, but here's the thing too. So
I mean, it does love
I'm a-
something.
Well, it really does love the aesthetic of the, marble statues. Maybe a little too much.
Yeah, I know.
Now, my hypothesis, maybe when you're no longer trying to make a joke and making an overtly political statement, your aesthetics just get kind of lost in the weeds. That's also why I've kind of decided that we're not sticking to just politics here on the channel. We are going to be talking about some less political things. Still going to bring it to you like an academic, but, maybe not everything's going to always be politics. We need a break sometimes, right? I mean, that's why I did my boba video. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you can vote on what my next non-academic video is going to be about. The two that are coming up are about Del Taco and the Mariko Aoki phenomenon, so those should be fun. Look forward to those two coming soon. Be sure to share this video with your family and your loved ones. Also, please check out TAGIRL's new album, Heaven Cry. It was amazing. I love it. I had a lot of fun listening to that on my ride to LA, but also like walking back and forth from work. It was so good. Go ahead and check out her on Bandcamp and the rest of the folks at Pacific Plaza Records. And FrankJavCee just said to Google his name, so go ahead and Google his name and see what comes up. Look out, because apparently Jav, J-A-V, is also Japanese adult video, so be careful, I guess. Also, I really want to thank my camera boy for the day, Andres. Thank you very much. I really could not have done it without you. Everyone's links to stuff will be in the description. I want to go ahead and thank some of my donors. I want to thank Abby and Jorge for donating on Patreon, and I want to thank Sasha, who donated via Ko-fi for my video about the Japanese Communist Party. Y'all, I'm a paid propagandist now. That's pretty aesthetic. Dumb fucking bitch. Be really cool like these people and get a shout out from me by donating to my Patreon or my Ko-fi. So, do you all like vaporwave? Have you even heard of it? If you do like vaporwave, who's your favorite vaporwave artist? I gotta say right now, mine, I know I keep talking about her, but TAGIRL, like, fuck, that album was so good. Like, fuck. And guess what? She has another album coming out. Like, making that statement. Actually, you know what? Here's the video.
So I'm just going to talk about it because I'm really excited. No, go for it. There's an album in the works right now that the second album just dropped one. Album number 2 announced officially on this interview. So it's the working title is Day Spa, and it's going to be really kind of like an exploration of the day spa and of like relaxation, of like rejuvenation, like feeling like your best self.
Y'all, she just came out with an album, and she used me as the way of like announcing a new album. So like, fuck yeah. I really cannot wait for that one. But go ahead and comment down below if you have a favorite vaporwave artist, or if you're now just kind of interested in the genre because of its weird political aspects. Well, that'll do it for me today, and thank you so much. And until next time, take care, and goodbye.